Good morning, everybody. Today's proceedings will be live transmitted after a 10-minute delay. Those with mobile telephones may use them to report what they have heard in the hearing room, but only after 10 minutes have elapsed since the event that they're reporting. They may not be used for recording or photography. Yes, Mr. Barr.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Soracchi, just one point following up what we were discussing yesterday afternoon about the charity bookshop.
Yes.
If we could have up your witness statement, please, at 35550, at page 112. Paragraph 252, towards the very bottom of the page, you say, I do remember a charity shop being spoken about where the proprietor was said to be Robert Fiore, who had a link to the extreme right wing in Italy. I do not remember whether this was on New Year's Eve, but I remember there being drunken talk about going to the shop and attacking it. Dan Gilman was the person I recall bringing the issue up and making the suggestion about attacking the shop, but at the time I did not think this was a serious plan and was just drunken talk. Can you help us with what you can recall about the discussion of an attack?
Yes, sir. I think the talk was about when the shop was open, entering it and throwing things onto the floor and such like. That's my recollection. And as I say, there was lots of talk about Mr. Fiore and what he was involved in. But I didn't even know what the organisation was that they were talking about.
What is your best recollection of when that conversation took place?
It was definitely at a social gathering, as I've said with my statement. It could have been at that time, sir, but I couldn't say for sure.
Could we take that down now, please? Could we have up from tab C139, MPS 0011596? This is a report dated the 29th of January 2003, and it's about a forthcoming BNP meeting in Hornsey. If we look at the first paragraph, it says that there's an intention by the BNP to establish a branch in the area and that no platform fully intends to oppose the meeting and carry out a physical assault on any BNP supporters in the area. Can you help us with the basis for your reporting an intention to physically assault BNP supporters?
As I've said with previous reports, this would have been conversations that we had either in a meeting or in a social setting, and this would have been the things that were being talked about. So again, trying to stop them get to the meeting by physical means if necessary, and just preventing it happening. That was what the group was all about.
You're right to advert to the fact that we've had similar reports before, and what I'm interested in is, are you reporting in each of these cases specific discussions about the specific forthcoming event, or are you reporting an intention to carry out physical assaults based essentially on previous conversations not related to the specific event?
In this case, I think because there is a date and a location, that this would have actually been spoken about at some kind of meeting that I had been in attendance of.
If we go to the source comment paragraph, let you read it, but I'm interested in the last sentence.
Yes, sir.
8 to 10 NP activists will take part in the eventual assault. Is it your evidence that your target group were talking in militaristic terms like that of conducting
No,
an
sir.
assault?
No. I know it says source comment, but even I wouldn't have spoken in terms like that. If I had talked about assault, it would have been from the point of view of violence of some kind. But no, the militaristic side to that, I understand what you're saying. It's not even something I would have said, or that, to be fair, I would have heard said by the people I was with.
And the number 8 to 10, where would that have come from?
That would have been people who voiced interest.
Interest in attending the event?
In attending, yes. From our circle.
Can we take that down now, please? And can we have up from tab C190 MPS 00111626? This is about the same event,
Yes.
still beforehand. Information obtained on the 30th of January 2003. If we look at paragraph 1 first, please.
Mm-hmm. So,
The last sentence, the NP activists will then attempt to attack the activists or disrupt the meeting.
mm-hmm.
Attacking and disrupting, two different things,
Yes.
which you have distinguished using the conjunction or.
Yes.
On what basis are you reporting? What is it that's making a report that it is one or the other?
I would have said this kind of thing because that's what I would have heard. Hence, I would have made that distinction.
Can we take it from that there was no clear plan to attack?
No, there often wasn't. It was always a matter of what does opportunity present. And that was why I would put in everything that I heard, basically, to try and cover all aspects.
If we go to paragraph 2, please. Give you a moment to look at that.
So,
This suggests there's going to be essentially two groups. One conducting the main demonstration,
yeah,
and the other doing something else.
yeah.
And the main demonstration, a conventional demonstration?
I believe so, yes.
Were you there on the evening of the 4th of February 2003?
I think I was, yes, sir. It does ring a bell. However, I had served as a uniformed police officer in that area, and so I might just visualise the place, but I do think I was there.
Which group were you with?
I can't remember, sir. This is why, as I say, I apologise, but we used to do lots of events like this, so it might be I'm confusing it.
Are you able to say whether or not, in fact, on the night there were two groups?
I don't think there were. Again, I think this was one of those occasions where not enough people turned up, really.
What happened?
From memory, nothing.
A conventional demonstration.
I believe so, yes.
Could we take that down now, please? Could we have up from tab C198, MPS 2018340? This is dated the 3rd of April 2003. It's entitled Coded Bomb Threat Warnings. If we could have the text of the first paragraph, please.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Headley of No Platform has recently made it known to some activists who are close to him within MP that he is aware of an authentic code word that can be given to the authorities when making bomb threats. Headley mentioned the word. This was mentioned to two other associates within MP. Headley stated that he personally has ever used the password, but had been made aware of it by an Irish Republican associate, no further details, some years ago. Was ever supposed to be never?
I believe so, yes.
What was the source of this intelligence?
Again, so most of my deployments involved picking up information when we were at meetings or out on socials. I think this would definitely have been at such an event.
It says Irish Republican associate, no further details. Does it follow that you did not know which Republican group was being referred to?
Yeah, I obviously there are many bits to the then Republican movement. I did not sort of have it confirmed that it was the more, shall we say, serious or violent side, but that it was some sort of support group was the impression I got. More than that, I do not know, I'm afraid.
If it was a support group, why would it have a bomb threat code word?
I don't know, sir. As I say, I can't remember the exact conversation. This does ring bells. And as I say, I think it was as a result of chat at a meeting or at a social gathering.
Can you help us with the context of this chat at a meeting or a social gathering?
Yeah, I can try. Obviously, when we were out, and I think this was probably from some sort of social gathering, you would still talk about politics, you would talk about other political groups who you might work with or you had disagreements with. And this, I think, would have been something that got mentioned within that context.
Can I be clear? Is there any suggestion that No Platform was considering getting involved in terrorist violence?
No.
Any suggestion that No Platform was going to get involved in bombing?
No.
Any suggestion that Mr. Headley was ever involved in terrorist activity?
No.
Any suggestion that he had any intention of doing so?
No. The report was about the fact that mention had been made of an authentic code word. Whether that was true or not, I do not know.
So literally mentioned in passing in conversation?
Yes, sir.
No more than that?
No, sir.
Can we go to the source comment, please? This may be of interest as it possibly indicates, confirms his previous sympathies. He does not usually speak about his Republican connections, sympathies.
Yes.
That's fairly qualified and dilute, isn't it?
Yes.
But you are still putting into the system a report which is insinuating that Mr. Headley might be connected to serious terrorism.
As I say, I from reading that now, I believe this was to do with support groups for the Republican cause. We were obviously at that time told to report things like this because, again, it would inform or add to any intelligence picture. You didn't know when it might become relevant in the future.
Creating official reports which suggest there may be a link between an individual and terrorists can have serious effects upon their lives, can't it?
Absolutely, sir. I may be reading that wrong. That was not the insinuation as I took it. I reported back that I'd heard talk of this authentic code word. I think I might have even passed on the code word to my handler, but I cannot remember it now. And I said, he knows people involved in the Republican cause. That would have been my thing. As I say, I would not have written this or even dictated the source comment. That would have been their interpretation as they wrote it.
Are you given any guidance about the need to be very careful about factual accuracy of reports?
No, sir. We were told to report what we heard, and then it would be written up accordingly.
Would it have been fairer to Mr. Headley to make it absolutely clear that there was no evidence that he ever had been or ever would be involved or ever had any intention of being involved in terrorism?
Yes, it would, but that was not for me to decide. I just reported what I heard.
Can we take that down now, please? Can we have from tab B73, 748418? This is if we can go to page 16, please. A large composite file. At page 16 of it is a code of conduct for undercover special branch officers. If you look at the first two paragraphs there, please, very similar to the document I showed you on Monday. If we go to page 17, please. The difference is that this copy from the 10th of April 2003 bears your signature, and it is countersigned by DCI Dell. Can you help us with the circumstances which led to you being required to sign the Code of Conduct?
I'm afraid I can't, sir. Possibly it might have been something that we were all required to sign, but I can't really remember, if I'm honest.
Was it anything to do, as far as you were aware, with the fallout from James Thompson's deployment?
There was a lot of fallout, possibly, but again, I cannot recall. I do think we were all asked to sign documents of this kind. I just didn't give it a lot of thought. I wanted to continue in my role.
And as of April 2003, you were in a relationship with Donna McLean, weren't you?
Yes, sir.
And I can take it that being required to sign this document didn't do anything to dissuade you from continuing the relationship?
No, sir. As I've said, I don't think I would have even recalled signing this document.
Can we go to page 18, please? And this is a document about SDS field officers' bank accounts,
yes,
conduct and use. I'll give you a moment to read that.
Yes, sir.
And you will see from the third bullet point down, the first indent, any banking facility granted to an SDS officer will only be used for the purposes of his or her SDS operation. If we zoom out, there's reference also to levels of indebtedness and overdrafts, yes, and so forth.
Yes.
That overdraft and indebtedness, there had, as you mentioned yesterday, I think, you've been given some guidance about that yourself.
I had, yes.
If we go over to page 19, again, you're being required to sign that.
Yes, sir.
Same question. Can you remember why you were required to sign a document essentially about financial propriety?
The only reason I can think of would have been obviously with the Officer James Thompson. I think these types of documents came in following what had happened there. That's the only reason I can think of.
In your case, you are pursuing a sexual relationship with Donna McLean.
Yes, sir.
Your finances, your field finances will have been used in part to conduct that relationship.
As I said yesterday, sir, and again, the back office had access to all of my current account statements at that time. They could see, and it was part of the reason I was pulled in, that I was actually putting money from my real life into that account. So, yes, it would have been a mix of both, I would say.
Putting money into your account from your real life, did that beg any questions?
It did eventually when they noticed it, yes. As I say, I was pulled in and spoken to, and it was all gone through.
And what were you asked?
Why are you doing this?
And what did you say?
I just said I spend a lot of time with my target group. I spend a lot of time socialising. I don't mind doing this.
I'm not going to go back over the evidence you gave yesterday about the rent book, but you're receiving money as a result of the rental arrangements. You are living with Donna McLean. Mm-hmm. You're getting money from the police to run your undercover life. Mm-hmm. Donna McLean is intrinsically intimately linked into your undercover life. Yes. Signing this document doesn't appear to have given you any pause for thought. Is that right?
No, it didn't, sir. I don't think, as I say, we were just presented with these documents. I don't remember exactly when. I can see, obviously, dates there. For us, for me personally, I was like, I need to sign this so that I can get on with doing my job and my deployment. However wrong that was my way of thinking.
And do you accept it was wrong?
With hindsight, yes, sir. But at the time, all I wanted to do was get out there and do my job.
But at the time, it must have struck you it was wrong.
Yes, but as I say, it was outweighed by wanting to get out and do the work.
And continue the sexual relationship.
Absolutely.
Could we have page 20 and 21, please? This is about field officers' passports, conduct and use, and you will see there's a gist at the top left. The overriding principle is that such passports are only used for operational purposes. And again, you're signing it on the same date, countersigned by DCI Dell.
Yes, sir.
Again, did that give you any pause for thought?
Not that I can recall. I think, again, my thought process, for want of a better word, would have been that I was maintaining my legend. This was a part of the job I was doing, and so it was okay to continue.
It should have given you pause for thought, shouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
And if you directed your mind to it, it would have done.
Yes, sir.
Can we take that down now, please? Can we go to tab C178, MPS 0010061? This is a report about St George's Day March due to occur on the 19th of April 2003. I'm interested in the comment at the bottom, which is about Mr. Headley. Could we have that expanded? Hopefully, privacy will mellow Steve, and you'll see above we've redacted for Mr. Headley's privacy some reporting about his personal relationship.
Yes.
But it is unlikely, given that privacy, WT, is likely, what is likely is that more young Headleys will arrive in this world, given his good Catholic propensity for fathering children! ! Is that your comment?
No, sir.
Whose comment is it? If you wish to have the document zoomed out or turned over, just say.
I think so. I mean, I've read the initial paragraph at the top as well. That again, this would have come from me having a debrief with my cover officers. Again, it will have figured in conversations that we had, but I have no memory of writing that, and I definitely didn't write that whole report, sir.
Did you have a laugh with your manager or managers about Mr. Headley's good Catholic propensity for fathering children?
I can't recall exactly, but yes, we would have talked and we would have had humour as we chatted. Well, not unfortunately, it was that kind of environment.
Would you accept now that stereotyping on the grounds of religion?
Yes, I would sort of say it probably was not thought about in that way back then at the time. Was
it thought about by you back then at the time?
Well, I'm a good Catholic as well, sir. So we could well have had a chat like this. There is no secret that family is very important to me, however daft that may sound. So entirely, we could have been chatting and my cover officer would have been making notes and would have then written this up. So, yes.
Can we take that down now, please? Could we have MPS 0018503? This is dated the 6th of May 2003. It's entitled The Socialist Party and George Galloway. If we could have the text expanded, please. I'll give you a moment to read it.
So,
how did you get this intelligence?
Pretty much the way I would get most of my intelligence. This would have been, again, either at a meeting, an official meeting, or just afterwards, or within a social event where, as I say, the subjects would always generally revolve around politics at some point.
Why did you report it?
For the same reasons that I've said. I would, whatever I heard, I would go back, and when I was debriefed, I would talk it through and tell my handlers what I had heard, what had been planned, what had been done. So the only reason I can think of is that.
From your knowledge and experience within Special Branch, and from what your managers may have said to you, was there Special Branch interest in Mr. Galloway?
But we had an extreme left-wing desk, so I assumed that there would be, which will be why, obviously, the interaction and discussion, supposed, I don't know if it happened, discussions with the Socialist Party, I thought would be of interest. So I would have recounted it as
Special Branch's interest in Mr. Galloway.
I think I reported this, sir, from the point of view that the Socialist Party activists had met with George Galloway. And as I say, it obviously was around a time that he was either going to leave or be expelled. And I think that's why I reported it, because it was of interest from that point of view that someone with a very high profile was talking to the Socialist Party.
To what extent did Special Branch take the view that Mr. Galloway had Stalinist tendencies?
Again, that would have probably come out in conversations. I'm not sure that it would have been Special Branch that took that view. I think that, again, may have been stuff that was said in the conversations that I was involved in with activists. Well, he was viewed as having Stalinist tendencies.
Well, it says Galloway continues to display his Stalinist tendencies. It doesn't say the Socialist Party thinks he has Stalinist tendencies.
Again, I didn't write this, sir. So I can only sort of give you what I think, really.
What was the reaction of your managers to this information?
No idea. I don't think it was viewed as that important.
But important enough to write up?
As I say, yes, I would report back everything that I had been involved in, seen and heard with regards to political activity.
Were you given any guidance on reporting on members of Parliament?
Obviously, in terms of detail, legal privilege, things like that, absolutely. I did not think this fell within that. This was people talking and gossip, but I still felt it was worthy of reporting that these meetings or this meeting might be taking place.
This is a member of Parliament
Yes.
discussing moving from the Labour Party to the Socialist Party, voluntarily or otherwise.
Yes, sir.
Did you give any thought to the fact you were reporting on a sitting member of Parliament having a political discussion about which political party he should be aligned with?
No. From reading that, no.
Did you ever get any guidance which should have rung alarm bells?
Not that I recall, other than to say, obviously, you have to tread very carefully, but this to me was a conversation that I thought was noteworthy. I would go back, I would be debriefed. As I've said, I then left. They would then, from whatever notes they might have made, they would write up the intelligence reports.
Who did you understand that this intelligence report would go to?
My reporting in the main, my understanding was that it would go to, obviously, what we called C Squad, which was the extreme left-wing desk and other such protests and activist activity groups that were on there. And I assumed that this would go to them. I didn't see that it would go to the public order desk. As I say, it was chit-chat.
Would it go to the security service?
No, sir. We did not. I mean, during my whole deployment, I was never made aware of any interest from the security service about the work I was doing.
What's the policing value of a member of Parliament's political discussions as to which party he should align with?
In terms of, sorry, sir.
Well, if it's not going to the security service,
Yeah.
Presumably for reasons of subversion, what's the police interest in what Mr. Galloway is doing?
Sir, I just reported this. I can't say. I was involved with the Socialist Party. These were things I picked up and I reported them. As I say, what then happened, I'm sure there would have been many things that I mentioned at our debriefs where they didn't bother, or they saw no interest at all. Someone obviously saw some interest in this and decided to type it up.
Were you ever given any guidance to the effect that if a member of party was a Stalinist, then that would need to be reported?
No, sir.
Or any guidance which would be wide enough to include that?
No, sir. I don't recall that at all.
Was there, to your knowledge, any special branch interest in Ken Livingstone?
No, I knew who he was, but no, there was no special branch interest as far as I was aware.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, sir.
Did you give any thought at all to the constitutional propriety of the police reporting on the political intentions of a sitting member of Parliament?
I can't say in any great depth, no.
If you had, what would have been your conclusion?
Well, I think the conclusion would have been no, but as I say, I did not include this within that. It was just I was relating something I'd heard.
Do you mean by the answer no, that no, it would not have been appropriate?
Yes, yeah, that's correct.
Could we take that down, please? Can we have up from tab C207 MPS 0022072? This is a report, we believe it's from the 20th of June 2003. Under the title, where it says title Craggy Island, about a third of the way down, it says no platforms, marriages, deaths, brackets, possible, moving house, and births, only joking. Then there is various information about various people associated with no platform, various personal information, that is. We've had to redact some of it for privacy reasons. If you need to see what's under the redactions at any stage, we can arrange that. But can you help us, first of all, what was the comment, births only joking, a reference to?
I don't know, sir. I did not write this. I do not recall this. I would have had a debrief looking at the information relating to the individuals referred to. And as I say, this would have then been typed up by somebody from the back office team. I'm not sure who. Again, moving house and births, only joking. Again, as I say, I feel there was some attempt at merriment there.
Was it an in-joke about the risk of undercover police officers fathering children in their undercover identities?
Not that I ever heard, but as I say, you didn't really talk about that. There was definitely the saying births, deaths and marriages. I can only think that this is some sort of reference to that. But again, I would have been debriefed. I'm looking at this quite evidently. This is information I would have passed across, but it was then written up.
We've been proceeding broadly chronologically through your deployment. We've seen the report we looked at a moment ago referring to Catholic propensity to procreate. We've got this only joking about births, talking about possible deaths. There seems to be a more flippant content to your report in this period of your deployment. Can you help us with why that was?
Not really. I think I was always, if I'm going to be honest, flippant when we were chatting, because it was talking and they were getting information out of me, but there would be jokes pushed in and the rest of it. All I can think here is that the people who are now writing this up had either changed or their attitudes had changed. But, you know, I readily admit, when we used to have our debriefs, you know, there would be jokes made, there would be laughter and things like that.
Going to the first substantive piece of information, privacy, and we're certainly not going to name who we're talking about here, is undergoing tests for prostate cancer. Apparently his doctor feels there is a very good chance that he has it. He is awaiting the outcome of tests results. This is only known by myself and his partner. This is clearly very personal and very sensitive medical information. Why did you report such information to your managers?
I can only say so. It would have just been in conversations, because something like this, I think, you know, it would have been in my head. I think I'd have been quite upset to hear this news, if I'm thinking of the right person. And I think I probably just shared it without thinking. But absolutely, I fully accept, very private. I'm not sure that I would have expected them to write that down, but there we go.
I asked you some questions back on Monday when I was asking about your training in the outset of your deployment about collateral intrusion and proportionality.
Yes, sir.
Can I take it that no thought was given to collateral and intrusion or proportionality at this stage?
Completely. I, as I say, would have shared this in the general debrief, probably not thinking it would get written down, but obviously being very wrong about that.
Why would you share it if you thought it shouldn't be written down?
Because I wasn't thinking like that at the time, evidently. That's the only reason I can have for that. And obviously, you know, I know it's serious and I am sorry about that, but I didn't at that time give that kind of thought.
Could we take that document down now, please? Can we have up from C229, MPS 002955? This is moving on to President Bush's visit to the United Kingdom, which took place on the 20th of November 2003. This is a report from the 27th of October 2003 about no platforms planning for that occasion. Can we have a look at the first paragraph on the left-hand page, please? I'll give you a moment to read that.
Yes, sir.
Can you help us with how specific the intelligence was that you obtained that informed this reporting on no platforms thinking?
From reading that paragraph, I feel this would have come from a proper meeting, so to speak, where we discussed the visit and what we would be doing. I'm just looking at those first couple of sentences, that we'd not been asked to take part in any stewarding, and that would have been the primary reason for having the meeting, because it was something that the group used to do. The rest of it, again, as I say, would have been stuff that was discussed at the meeting that I heard, and then this would have been put in to assist with the policing plan for the event and for the visit.
Understood. It says, please this will give them the opportunity to roam around any hotspots and get involved in any disorder. Is it your evidence that the no platform activists you were talking to as a group wanted positively to get involved in disorder?
It would have been discussed, yes. Hence, I would have put that into my debrief.
If you get involved in disorder at an event like this, which is inevitably going to be heavily policed, you're risking arrest and other consequences of a potential conviction.
Completely, yes.
How do you square that with the next sentence? Many members of the group are making sure they are off work during the visit.
Well, people wanted to go out and protest. Hence, people were making sure that they were taking time away from work. As I say, discussing and talking about becoming involved in disorder can take many forms.
Well, there's an enormous difference between wanting to protest and wanting to get involved in disorder, isn't there?
Okay, so but my definition of disorder is refusing to move if you're blocking a road, things like that, etc. But that can escalate all the way up, obviously, to the more serious stuff. I think this is a flavour of what I was trying to get across, because we would have been being asked by the public order departments, what do you know? This would have been, this would not have just been coming in from me, this would have been coming in from across the unit. Apologies.
What were the people that you were mixing who had jobs to lose saying about their appetite for breaking the law?
I cannot remember, sir. As I say, please, I know you know this, but no platform was made up of socialists and anarchists. There would have been different attitudes and approaches to all of that.
And so a report which talks about the group or portrays the group having an appetite to get involved in disorder as a group is overstating the position, isn't it?
I disagree. There was a lot of anger about this visit. As a result, the police, the Metropolitan Police, were very interested in anything that might happen or any things that were being talked about.
If we go a bit further down, the SP activists will remain with the SP contingent and the anarchists will remain within their bloc.
Yes.
However, plans have already been made to meet up on the demonstrations when possible, and particularly if disorder breaks out, to come together and act as a disciplined unit. So what you're portraying there is a plan for the Socialist Party contingent to get together with the anarchist contingent so that no platform en masse come together and act as a disciplined unit. Have I understood that?
Yes. Reading that, yes.
Disciplined unit, again, has a militaristic
Absolutely.
feel to it.
Yes.
What did you mean by act as a disciplined unit?
I think, and I can only surmise from having read this now, I was probably talking about the whole stewarding side of it, come together to protect the activists from our political groups. I don't think I would have been indicating that there would have been anything else. But as I say, I could have used the word disciplined because certainly the stewarding, it was all about discipline and taking directions. So that's all I can think that I would have meant.
So to understand this properly, the vital words that are missing, if disorder breaks out, to come together and act as a disciplined unit to protect the marches.
Absolutely. As I say, I didn't write this. I definitely would have recounted all of this, but I did not write it up.
Can we zoom out, please? Can we go to the source comment? NP activists are keen to get involved in the Bush visit protests as they see the visit as the first opportunity in a very long time for a situation to develop where mass public disorder could develop. Most of the group are not strangers to protest of this kind and have experience in being able to agitate and aggravate a developing situation. Joe Batty and Frank Smith are particularly good in these situations and are very adept at slipping away. The anarchist contingent of NP will be headed as usual by Mario and Privacy. Both are hotheads and will invariably get themselves into trouble. Now that is source comment. Is that therefore your comment?
Yeah, it would definitely have been something that I would have said to my cover officers. Again, as I say, they will have written up on the back of what I had said. So yes, definitely.
But doesn't that portray a completely different picture to what you've just told us, namely that in the event of trouble, they will fall back to a conventional, disciplined, protective stewarding role?
Yes, sir, but I do feel that both can coexist together. Part of the reason that I was with the Socialist Party was exactly what is there, that the anarchist side of that group were viewed both by police and I think the Socialists, that they were hotheads who were more likely to get themselves into trouble. Mr. Batty and Mr. Smith, I would always make a point of trying to be around them because they understood these situations when they were turning nasty, or if there was the possibility of turning nasty, far better than I did, and they would get us out of trouble. As I say, I identified that quite early on, and I did try and make sure that I was with them if things were going that way.
So getting out of trouble, exercising a protective role.
Absolutely. You know, what may have happened before, though, was you know, you were there, there would be a large group of people, there would be lots of different things happening. Whether it was Mr. Batty or Mr. Smith who were initiating that's not really the point I think I was trying to make. I was trying to say that if it kicks off, I'm sticking with those two.
They were men who were certainly not going to charge into battle fearless to the point of madness, were they?
They were not anarchists. Yeah, I would agree. And they were, for me, and from my point of view, in that type of situation, they were a safe pair of hands, for want of a better word.
Could we take that down, please? And could we have C232 MPS 0029772? This is the 13th of November 2003, and if we go down, please, I think it's the fourth paragraph. Yes, just above comment. Again, a further report a little closer to the time. Later on in the day, the SP activists from MP intend to meet up with their counterparts. They will only do so when they are happy that their SP comrades in the SP bloc are safe. Should there be mass public disorder during the day, it is likely that they will be directed, I think it should say by the SP Executive Committee, to remain with the SP contingent. In other words, in that defensive role that you were just talking about.
That would have been further reporting that I would have phoned in. As I say, we were leading up to this visit, we were putting an awful lot of information in.
And if we could take that down and get up to C235 MPS 0029798. Give you a moment to look at the first paragraph of this report, which is again about the forthcoming visit, this time 3 days beforehand. And this report makes far more clear the distinction, doesn't it, between the SP part of NP and the anarchist part of NP?
Yes, sir.
And their different intentions. Can we go to the handler's comment paragraph here? Dissemination to NPSB and NPOU for information only. Please refer to the originator where further dissemination is concerned or where executive action is likely. Were you told in the run-up to this major demonstration anything about NPOIU involvement?
No, sir. I was aware that the NPOIU existed, obviously, but my impression, feeling, was we were very distinctly set apart. I, as far as I can recall, was never ever debriefed from anyone from NPOIU. It would always be either my back office staff and on rare occasions by the desks.
Did you get any briefings from your own managers to the as to what the MPOIU were doing to gather intelligence at demonstrations?
All we would have been told was that they would have had assets out there as well.
Did you ever meet those assets?
I did not, no.
I don't want you to identify them verbally, but were they ever identified to you?
Not that I can recall at that time when I was serving on the unit, no.
Can we take that down, and can I take you to the day of President Bush's visit itself? Were you there?
I think I was, yes.
Can you help us with what happened?
I think it was a sizable demonstration. I don't have a lot of recollections of anything very, very exciting happen other than there were lots of police, there were lots of demonstrators. I attended a lot of demos, so...
Did you see anybody from no platform being violent?
I would have been with the socialist contingent. No, would be the answer.
Did you see anybody from no platform involved in public disorder?
Not that I recall, no.
Was anybody from no platform arrested at that event?
I don't think so, no.
And was that because they were there to protest and to protect?
That was why I was there, certainly, so I would imagine they had, the same reasons for being there, as far as I'm aware.
Can we go to tab B83, sir, MPS 0030590? This is a file note dated the 25th of November 2003, 5 days after the event, titled Operation Caprice, which we understand to be the operation name given to the policing of the visit of President Bush. I will give you a moment just to have a look at the detail. And if we go over the page, you'll see it's signed by DCI, or bears DCI Dell's name at the bottom. This is a document which records that essentially the SDS was very pleased indeed with its contribution to policing on the day, and felt that it had made the major intelligence contribution. Is that right?
It seems to reference one.
Was that praise ever passed on to you?
I don't remember. It could well have been, but I don't recall, sir.
Could we take that down now, please? And can we have up from tab C236, MPS 0031153? This is a 4-page note, a briefing note, all about no platform, dated the 15th of December 2003. Can you help us with whether you wrote this or participated in its writing or contributed in any other way?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I would have contributed. Again, I don't think it would have been written by me because that wasn't the way we did things. We would meet up, we would sit down, there would be notes getting taken. Usually there would be at least 2 or 3 other people because this would have then been passed up to the desk as a sort of, a briefing note, basically. But yeah, I would have attended and we would have talked through all of this and it would have been, they would have taken their notes and then written up the report.
Could we have Page 3, subparagraph C. This is in a section of subparagraphs which fall under the introduction. The London section, however, has not made any proactive interventions on the far right this year for a number of reasons. C. The biggest reason has been the police intelligence and tactics used against NP. Good quality intelligence has meant that NP activists are disrupted very early on in any activity and prevented from using the intelligence they have about the whereabouts of the fascists. NP activists are photographed, filmed, and spoken to by uniform units early on during an event, and this puts them off criminal activity when the opportunity arises, as they are aware that the police evidential chain has already begun. The firm manner in which MP activists are usually dealt with by police is also effective, as they are left in no doubt about the police response should they commit offences. These tactics have put off many new MP activists. Can you help us with the extent to which uniformed police could use these tactics anyway without SDS intelligence?
Obviously, they would be present. I think back then they would have obviously, as they do now, get intelligence from other sources. And so, of course, they would have, they would have had opportunities. I think for me, the reason that we were also used was because we were able to provide, for want of a better word, on the spot. We were there, we were with the people, and so there would be no ambiguity or doubt for the uniformed police if they were looking for certain groups.
The fit teams can photograph, film, and speak to people anyway, can't they?
Yeah, back then, yes, certainly.
And they can be firm anyway, can't they?
Yes.
Might it be said that you're in a position perhaps to identify people from photographs?
From police photographs?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, of course, yes.
So you may make a contribution in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But otherwise, would it be fair to say that the police, the uniformed police, can do all of this anyway?
Yes, but the only problem was it was about where to best direct the resources, because obviously there were not endless fit teams or endless TSG carriers, and so it was part of the reason I was out there was to try and assist with that so that they could better direct their tactics.
Better dispose their assets.
Yeah, that's a much better way of saying it, so yes.
If we could take that down now, please. Can we go to tab 240, MPS 00010199. This is moving into 2004, 22nd of January 2004. It's about confronting the BMP's canvassing on the Pimlico estate. And its significance, so far as we can see, is that it's the first reference to Antifa.
Yes, sir.
So if we could have the text expanded, please. Is this about the time that Antifa was formed?
I think so. I think so, sir. For me, it was, as I say, a change of name. Antifa had been spoken about around this period, and I took it to mean they were German-based anti-fascists, and this was the name for the group. I'd not heard the term until this period.
Can you help us with how and why Antifa came to be in this country?
Yes, the anarchists within our No Platform group had ties across Europe with other anarchists. I believe that this is where the name came from, and it was viewed as a way of bringing it all together, uniting the anti-fascist movement, because obviously if you've all got the same name, it will resonate around Europe.
That addresses the anarchist side of
Yes.
MP. Can you
Yes.
help us with where the Socialist Party side of MP are left with the
yes.
formation of Antifa?
My impression was they were not happy about it, because obviously it was a sort of umbrella group. So whilst, from what I can remember, I think a lot of the discussions were that they would work together and continue to work together, but leadership of the Socialist Party would not countenance, were happy with people becoming full-time within Antifa, as it was basically viewed that we would lose membership and lose people at that stage.
In practice, on the ground, what difference did the emergence of Antifa make?
The only difference really that I can remember was that there had been people from other anarchist groups who had always been quite unhappy about working within the no platform framework due to connections to the Socialist Party. I think that was the main difference, that it attracted more people who probably wouldn't have come near us.
More anarchists.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Did no platform continue to exist?
I think it did, but it definitely became very watered down, because, as I say, we were calling ourselves Antifa. The socialists said, well, we will work within it, but we will not join it. That was the distinction.
What's the difference between working within and joining?
Well, joining is, you're becoming a member, a membership. Working with is you are still, for want of a better word, retaining your own decision-making about events that you're attending.
For the Socialist Party members of no platform, did it mean they still continued to work with the anarchists, or did it mean that they gravitated back towards purely Socialist Party activities?
No, they continued to work with the anarchists. By this stage, from what I could see, I mean, I'd been involved for a few years, and there were not just political allegiances to each other, there were friendships there. So, again, it was discussed and trying to find a way to continue sort of assisting each other.
Where were you in this period of flux?
This was a difficult time for me. Antifa obviously was of interest to my handlers. The problem was that it was predominantly anarchist-based at that time, and was looking that way. So for me, I was still having to be careful, because there was always a chance that there would be more serious violence on that side of things. So I again, my close relationships were with the members of the Socialist Party. So I sort of trod the middle ground, but I remained a member of the Socialist Party at that time.
Did you try to steer events in any particular direction?
No.
Can we take that down now, please? Could we have up from tab C250, MPS 0032327? This is moving on to the 29th of March 2004. It's a report about the extreme left-wing supporters may join new police complaint section. Could we have the text expanded, please? I'll give you a moment to refresh your memory. Can you help us with the phrase, it is viewed as an opportunity to really cause damage to the Met Police?
Absolutely. I obviously would have said this to my handlers, or they would have written it in that way. They didn't like the police. They viewed the Met Police, but police in general, as racist, sexist, and all the rest of it. And so this would have been part of the conversations about the new Complaints Commission.
So what was the fear?
I don't follow, sir, I'm sorry.
Really cause damage. What was the fear?
To interfere with police investigations where things had gone wrong, or there was a belief that things had gone wrong. It was seen as, from what I can remember, the types of conversations were ways of gumming up the system.
What were the people you were mixing with saying about this opportunity?
As I said, it was viewed as a way of getting in and causing issues for the workings of police investigations.
I'd like to be clear about precisely what was being said. Were they keen to get into a role where they could participate in holding police to account for failures, or was it more than that?
I couldn't say, sir. This is what I would have picked up, and thinking back to this would have been probably in a social setting where we were talking about finding jobs, working, all the rest of it. It would have definitely been something, I can't remember where it says it here, but it had been printed in publications associated with homeless work, social work, and so it would have been mentioned by Mr. Batty, probably in a social setting.
Was there a fear that these people might not be objective and fairly determine complaints if appointed?
Entirely possible, I guess, yes.
It's entirely possible. I'm asking you what you were thinking.
I wasn't thinking like that.
Were you thinking these were the last people who should be determining police complaints?
No.
Well, what were you thinking then?
I was reporting on things I had heard, is exactly what I was thinking. I thought it was interesting that this would be looked at, but as I say, that was it, really.
Did anybody use the word cause damage to the Met Police?
I can't remember. It would have been words along those lines, I would imagine, but again, this would have been written by one of my colleagues, and that was down to their interpretation.
Another way of viewing the opportunity would be a way of participating in improving police behaviour. Was it being expressed in that way?
I don't remember that. I don't think it was. But again, I would have reported this back. My handlers would have basically written it up as they thought I was saying it to them.
At the end, it says under handlers' comments, dissemination to MPSB C Squad for information only. Yeah. Please refer to the originator where further dissemination is so concerned, or where executive action is likely. Did anybody refer back to you about this information?
No. This was, again, something that, rightly or wrongly, would have come out in conversations that I was having when I was being debriefed. My interest in that stopped there. I delivered what I'd heard. My attitude was, you guys are going to get on with it. I might have seen this at some point when I was looking at my product file, but I did not look at my product file sort of every week. It was, every few months if I was lucky. And again, I would flick through.
Why was this handler's comment added to the report?
I don't know, sir.
Was it to ensure that the way in which the intelligence was used did not compromise you.
Oh, that's, yeah, entirely possible, yes, yes.
What executive action might have been taken?
I don't know. I mean, looking at what I've said there, none.
Did your handlers discuss with you the need to protect you as a source?
Yes, over the years, yes. They would obviously, attention to source protection was something that they had to be aware of.
In relation to this intelligence?
I don't recall them discussing this explicitly with me, no.
Did they discuss with you what executive action might be taken?
No.
Were you ever told what was done with this intelligence?
No.
Were you ever told whether any action had been taken to thwart Mr. Batty's aspirations to join the IPCC?
No.
Do you know whether SDS intelligence was ever used in this way to prevent people believed to be subversive from assuming particular offices?
No, sir.
Do you know whether it would be used for vetting?
No, sir. Having been through vetting processes, I would be very surprised if it was.
Do you know anything about the Economic League?
No, never heard that term.
Was it ever raised with you within the SDS?
No.
Do you know anything about the Consulting Association?
No.
Was that body ever mentioned whilst you were serving in the SDS?
No, sir.
Do you know whether information gathered by the SDS was ever leaked outside the police to blacklisting organisations?
I'm not aware of that, sir. Obviously, over the years, I've subsequently read things about that, but I was never aware that anything that I was reporting back was being used for those purposes. But as I say, I would put my reports in and that would be the last I would think about it.
Could we take that down now, please? Could we have up from tab C257 MPS 0034636? This is about an Antifa day of action against the BNP, set for the 24th of April 2004. It's an ex post facto report, intelligence coming from 2 days later. I'll give you a moment to refresh your memory, but my first question is going to be whether you were there.
I do recall being there, so yeah, just read through it.
And this is confronting the BNP, isn't it?
Yes, I think the whole point of the day was to disrupt their meeting point. Sorry, just...
Once you've refreshed your
my
memory,
apologies,
let
sorry.
me know.
Ready, sir. Sorry about that.
Can you describe to us what happened on the day?
As best I can remember, we'd been asked for assistance by Southend and Essex parts of the group. Obviously, because we were in London, we went out there. And my recollection is we spent a lot of time around or near the train station. I think, as I say, there were other anti-fascist groups there, and we just sort of kept to ourselves, but were milled in with them. I don't recall it was loud, it was vociferous, the policing was firm. I think there was one occasion, because it was one of the things that sticks in here. Some local people didn't take very kindly to not just us, but to the counter demonstrators being there, and there started to be sort of verbal confrontations, which, in my view, were on their way to becoming violence. And as I say, at that point, there was a big uniformed police presence. And from what I can remember, the police intervened.
It says information was received, however, from a searchlight source that the redirection point for BNP activists was the town's railway station. Did you obtain that? Did you know that when the information came in on the day?
I'm sure it was would have been voiced to us that we would have been told that, because I do recall being around the environs of the railway station.
Were you able to report where the redirection point was believed to be to your superiors at the time?
I cannot remember, sir, I'm sorry.
Was there in fact any violence?
There was certainly potential for violence. As I say, there were groups of opposing activists in fairly close proximity to each other. But as I say, there was quite a swift intervention by the uniformed police, who were putting in cordons, etc., to prevent people getting too close to each other.
What does the phrase firm physical mean?
Officers will link up, they will form a cordon, they will push people away. That kind of thing is what I saw. These were not what in common parlance you would call riot police. They were not, as far as I can remember, kitted up in public order equipment, but they jumped out of police carriers, minibuses, and very quickly moved across.
So effective public order policing?
Yeah, absolutely.
How did the uniformed police know to be at the railway station?
I don't know, sir. As I say, I do not recall putting in that information, so I don't know, I'm afraid.
If we could take that down now, please. Can I move to the time when you move out of Donna McLean's flat?
Yes, sir.
Our understanding is you move in with Steve Headley and later Joe Batty.
Yes.
For reasons which may become clear, I'm going to start with the second of those moves,
Okay, sir.
Joe Batty. If we have up, please, MPS 0527068. Go page 11, please. If we could expand that. This is a letter, if you could have it scrolled up, thank you. This is from Mr. Batty, writing about his accommodation, and it says about halfway down the page, I've already left the property, but my friend Carlo Neri will be available to look after the flat from the 1st of June 2004. We would like to request permission for this arrangement to be in place for 6 months,
Yes.
although it may be less than that.
Yes.
You see, the date of that letter is the 12th of April 2004.
Yep.
Can you help us with what has passed between you and Mr. Batty in the period leading up to the 12th of April, when he writes this letter to secure permission for you to live in his flat, such that you know that you want to move into it?
As far as I can remember, sir, I don't recall that obviously Mr. Batty's mother was unwell, but he was and had told me that he was going to move back up north to Manchester just to try it out. He was talking about not sure what was going to happen with the flat, because both himself and his partner were going up there, I think. And I think he might have just asked me, did I know anyone? Was I interested? And I think I said yes. More than that, I don't really know. That was very much the impression I got.
Why, in the spring of 2004, did you want to say yes to that offer?
convenient at the time for me, but it was just an offer that came up. It was an opportunity, and I said, okay, that.
Can you recall whether when the offer was made you were already living with Mr. Headley or whether you were still living with Donna McLean?
I think I would have been with Mr. Headley, but I cannot say for sure. I am sorry.
When you moved into Mr. Batty's flat, who was living there? Was it just you, or was it you and others?
No, just me.
Did there come a time when Mr. Batty moved back into it?
As I recall, his partner, I had to vacate the flat because his partner was coming back and Joe was working out what he was going to do.
So am I understanding it rightly? You move into Mr. Batty's home around the 1st of June 2004.
Yeah.
You live in that accommodation alone
Yes, sir.
until there comes a time when you're asked to vacate it.
Yes, and that was always the agreement. It was, this isn't forever, mate, but it would do us, it would help if we have someone in there that we have sort of recommended that we know. But if we change our mind, you must move out. And I had obviously no issues with any of that. These documents, did you hand these in to your managers? I don't remember,
There's
sir.
another letter afterwards which
I don't remember,
grants
sir.
permission.
I don't remember, sir.
To what extent did you keep your managers informed about the fact you were moving into Mr. Batty's home?
I feel I would have kept them informed because even with regard to lodging with Mr. Headley, I definitely would have informed them about that. So I think I would have informed them about this.
And how inquisitive were they about details such as what the property was like, who you would be living with, that sort of thing?
There was not a lot of interest within that. It would be checked by them. They would look at, I would imagine, council tax registers and things, and then they would say yes or no. They would ask you, well, how long is this going to be? You would try and give them an idea. More than that, I don't think there was a great deal of interest.
Can I go back now to your move into Mr. Headley's premises?
Yes.
I dealt with this one first because it may help anchor it in time.
Okay, thank you.
We can take that document down now. What did you tell your managers about why you were going to move from Donna McLean's flat into Mr. Headley's accommodation?
I can't remember, sir, in all honesty. Obviously, I would have told them I was moving, but I cannot remember.
Presumably they would have wanted to know why.
Again, as I said, it was not the highest priority for them. What they wanted to know was, where are you staying? So that if they ever had to come looking for me, they would be able to do that. And
can I take it from that you would have told them that you were moving in with Mr. Headley?
Yeah, I believe I did. I think the only interest there was that it would be a temporary arrangement, very temporary.
Why was it going to be very temporary?
Because, again, for the same reasons, you're living with a political activist. There were reasons why they wouldn't want you there. I think I also said that to him. For me, it just seemed like a convenient idea.
And the reality was that you were, in fact, getting yourself out of Donna McLean's flat because you were putting some distance into that relationship.
Yes, sir.
And you didn't tell your managers that?
I can't remember, sir. I mean, I don't remember.
Well, did you or didn't you?
I can't remember. The timeline, at some point my managers were aware, but at that time, no, I guess.
When you moved into Mr. Headley's flat, what did you tell Mr. Headley?
I think it would have been that I'd gone through a breakup. I needed somewhere to stay.
And he very charitably said, come and live with me.
Absolutely.
Who else was living in the premises?
For the most part, it was myself and Mr. Headley. I think he would be visited by his family, but that wasn't all the time. For the most part, it was myself and Mr. Headley.
Does Mr. Headley have a partner living with him at any stage?
Not there. I think he did have a partner, but they were living elsewhere.
Did his daughters stay at his premises whilst you were living there?
I don't think it was a regular occurrence, no.
Not quite an answer to my question. Did his daughters
Yes.
ever stay overnight?
I believe so, yes.
How often?
It was not regular, as I said earlier.
In the conversations you had with your managers about moving in to live with Mr. Headley, how inquisitive were they about that move?
I think I would have given them those details because they would have asked me about the setup of the house. I certainly recall that when I was staying with Mr. Headley, my coffee consumption went up immeasurably and I wasn't getting a lot of sleep because we would sit and talk a lot.
When you say those arrangements, what arrangements would you have communicated to your managers?
That's my point. They would have been the times when we would have talked about visitors and things like that, and family.
Is it your evidence that your managers knew you were living with a man whose children would sometimes come and stay with him?
Yes.
What was their reaction to that?
None that I remember, nothing notable.
And being very careful about anonymity, which managers knew that according to you?
I could not say, sir. These were conversations that would go on with the back office. It would have been my cover sergeants, definitely, at the time, but I can't even remember who they were at that time.
Did DC Idell know?
I would assume he did, because it would have been conveyed to him. I do not recall speaking directly to him.
DIHN 53?
Again, I don't recall speaking directly to him.
Did anybody give you any advice about how to conduct yourself living in a home with an activist and, on occasion, his daughters?
No one gave me any advice, no.
Why didn't you revert to just getting a Duff address?
I don't know why. I don't know what the reasons were. I went back to the back office. I think it would have been as part of the legend building because, again, I was a newly single man who was looking to sofa surf, for want of a better word. And I think that was part of the thought process behind it.
Was a conscious decision arrived at as a result of discussion with your managers that it would be better for your cover to be the sofa surfing single male?
Yes, we definitely had that discussion and it was viewed as useful for the legend, yes.
So would that be a convenient time to take the morning break?
Certainly. We'll break for 15 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Soracchi, back to Antifa. If we could have up from tab C260, MPS 0035130. This is a document that we've recovered referring to you, Craggy Island Antifa action statement. If we could have that text from Craggy Island down to the bottom of the text expanded, please. It starts with another example of the less formal approach to reporting.
Yep.
The following is the text of Antifa's website action statement. Even the wearies have gone corporate and now have a statement of common purpose. Enjoy. And am I right to understand that what follows is text from the Antifa website?
Yes, I think so.
If we go down to the third paragraph of the text of the website, Antifa aims to tackle fascism from two angles. First, ideologically, we intend to expose the BNP and other far-right parties for what they are, lying racist politicians with no solutions for the British working class. We intend to counter the fear and lies spread by such groups and fight a hearts and minds struggle with them. Countering their policies and taking away the basis of their support is a massive part of what Antifa will do, and arguably the most important. Did that sentiment accurately reflect what they did?
Yes, at that time, I'm just trying to remember if I actually downloaded this or if I just pointed the back office to it. Not that it's that important, but yeah, I mean, that was the group's statement, as it were.
And if we could go now, if we could take that document down, unfortunately something's gone awry with our electronic filing. The next page of this document is on another file.
Okay.
And so could we have up, please, 35131. And you'll see the document continues. Secondly, Antifa intends to tackle fascism physically, headfirst on the streets. Fascism is not an extreme version of conservatism. It is an ideology based on violence and terror seems to have been some problem there, opposition. It is no coincidence that whatever far-right groups become active, there is an upsurge in racial violence. The aim of street mobilizations is to give the image of controlling the streets, very much in the tradition of the black shirts, of Oswald Mosley, the dead British fascist aristocrat who led the old British Union of Fascists both before and after World War II.
Yes.
From your dealings with Antifa, does this actively reflect their political analysis of the fascists?
Yes, sir. These would indeed, yes, sir.
If we can go on to the next paragraph. As such, militant direct action against fascist mobilizations is an essential part of the overall struggle against fascism. When successful, they destroy the image of hard-nut, untouchable, Aryan skinheads that these groups like to push for themselves. Remember, only they believe in a master race, and they can take a kicking just like anyone else. Successes have already been made in this field, with 2 BNP being attacked on Borough High Street, London, after leaving a picket, and 4, says WNP, but I suspect it's supposed to say BNP, was stopped from leafleting in Portrush, Northern Ireland, and had all their material, including one flag, confiscated by anti-fascists.
Yes, sir.
Overtly violent.
Yes, sir.
On their website.
Yes, sir.
And then if we move to the next paragraph, I won't read it all out, but essentially it's a recruitment call based on the two pillars of Antifa's policy that we've just been through. To what extent was the sentiment that fascists could take a kicking just like anyone else something that permeated Antifa?
From my experience, as I said earlier, Antifa being predominantly based in anarchist activity, there was definitely a much higher chance of there being violence. As I said earlier in our discussions, part of the reason my deployment into the Socialist Party was important was they were very conscious that with an anarchist group there was more chance of getting involved in serious assaults and things like that. So it definitely permeated through, yes.
The reference to two BNP members being attacked on Borough High Street, do you know anything about that attack?
No, I missed that one.
And can I assume you know nothing about the attack in Northern Ireland?
No, I may have either read it on this site or heard about it in our various gatherings, but I've no knowledge of that.
If we could take that document down now, and could we have up tab C267 MPS 0035239. This is the 3rd of June 2004. It's headed Antifa, extreme right-wing targeting. If we have the first paragraph up to scene set. Antifa activists are currently looking at the BNP electoral lists and making inquiries into the addresses of their candidates and their agents. This is all being done as discreetly as possible, and activists intend to act upon the information whether these candidates are elected or not. Can I be clear? Is this is publicly available material about the names and addresses of political election candidates and their agents?
Yes, indeed. Electoral rolls, things like that.
And how did you establish that Antifa were collating this sort of intelligence?
This would have come from either, again, a meeting or a social. This type of thing, I'm not sure we would have talked about it down the pub, so to speak. This would have come out at meetings where tactics and activities were being discussed.
And where were these meetings being held?
I think some of the meetings there was an anarchist bookshop around Whitechapel. We definitely used that a few times because I remember going there.
Was that the Freedom Bookshop?
Sorry, sir. I know it was sort of. Oh, was it Whitechapel further down? Yeah, it could have been the Freedom Bookshop. I can't remember anymore, but it was sort of next to a pub. I think called the White Hart or something.
Could we zoom back out and have paragraph 2, please? Antifa has already held discussions about what its reaction should be to any BNP gains in the elections, and activists are preparing themselves for a busy time in the next few months. The group intends to make use of any mass protest against the BNP by using any large demonstration as a cover for its activities. In addition to this, the group also intends to individually target BNP representatives and, where possible, attack them. If this is not possible, then it will seek to intimidate them or vandalise their property. Again, is it your evidence that you obtained this intelligence from meetings at places like the bookshop?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What actually happened?
In relation to this one, I I have no knowledge of anything taking place. Again, as I say, I used to go to these meetings, but were predominantly attended by the anarchists at that time, and I don't have any knowledge of if anything actually was ever carried out.
So you're not able to help us with whether or not anyone was physically attacked?
No, sir.
Intimidated?
No, sir.
Or the subject of the vandalisation of their property?
No.
Can we take that down now, please? Could we have from tab C271, MPS 0035343? This is a 21st of June 2004 report about elections which had been held on June the 10th of that year. It's headed the Socialist Party and the June the 10th elections. I'll give you a moment to refamiliarise yourself with the document. My first question is going to be what role you played in its production.
I would have provided at least one of the briefings for this. I don't think it would have come from anybody else but me. Might have been sort of leaflets in the newspaper, but yes, I would have provided verbal briefing on this.
Do you know who actually wrote it?
No.
Would it have been somebody, it says at the top left, note for desk C Squad.
I think it would have come from our back office, obviously, because that's who I reported to.
If we look at the first paragraph under the heading Intelligence, this note concerns the recent elections on June the 10th with particular reference to the Socialist Party. It will not concentrate on those areas that may be found in the public domain, but will deal with the mood of the Socialist Party following the election results and the possible future plans for the party. Can I take it that the sort of reporting we've looked at that you are putting in about the Socialist Party informs what the SDS can report about the mood within the party and its possible future plans that are not in the public domain?
Obviously, that is what I did. I think part of the reason for this being put in, obviously, there was this concern that the BNP were running candidates in areas. There was also the advent of the Respect Coalition, which, again, they were looking at as taking votes away. And I think I was just giving a general overview.
We can see, can't we, from this, that overview you were giving, or perhaps put another way, that insight into what the Socialist Party was doing was plainly of interest to those who were managing you.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't have passed on this information had it not been. Not to this detail.
And if we go to page 2, paragraph 3, the Socialist Party will seek to maintain its good relations with the more militant trade unions and will continue to seek to enhance their relationship with them. The main priority of the Socialist Party remains firmly committed to the electoral process, as it sees this as its best opportunity to precipitate the revolution from within the system. Therefore, it still calls itself a revolutionary party. So, is it fair to say your understanding of the Socialist Party's aims was to bring about a revolution using the democratic process?
Yes, sir.
Did that commitment to the electoral process have any impact on SDS interest in the Socialist Party?
I'm not sure I'm the right person to direct that to, sir. Obviously, from my point of view, yes, it did, because I was providing the reporting. But
you continue to report on the Socialist Party, though, don't you?
Yes, sir.
So
yes,
can
sir.
I take it that there was no suggestion that because they were committed to the electoral process, you should stop reporting their mood and plans?
No, I understand that. No, I was never told not to report stuff like this back.
And if we go to the bottom of page 2, the Socialist Party in it is and will, for the foreseeable future, be limited by lack of resources in any big election campaign. It will continue to feature in small scale in local elections, picking up seats by appealing to sympathetic communities it targets. At present, its main aim is to continue to build within the trades union movement and by a process of entryism, seek to put its members in positions of influence and control. If they manage to create such a platform, the executive believes that a mass workers' movement can be created. This would eventually wrest back control, I think you should say, of the Labour Party from Blairites, or even create a mass workers' party in the image of the Socialist Party, over which it would have a great deal of influence. It could then use the resources from such an organisation to push through policies and become a truly revolutionary party. First of all, the reference there to entryism. I asked you some questions about this earlier in the week.
Yes, sir.
And you told me that Socialist Party members were usually members of trade unions. They often held office within the trade unions, and they were open about their politics.
Yes, sir.
Do you mean entryism in that sense, or do you mean entryism in any other sense?
Definitely in the sense you've just described. I think from a lot of the literature I was given to read and to be indoctrinated, there was also the talk of entryism as a Trotskyist tactic. And again, maybe I was referring to that.
Were they doing anything covertly?
I don't know, sir. I didn't have anything to do with the trade union side of things. So, as I say, it's entirely possible as well, Mr. Barr, that this definitely came verbally from me, but I might have even provided literature as well to write this up.
Did you, at any point in your many years infiltrating the Socialist Party, ever hear of them doing anything covertly within the trade union movement?
Not shared with me, no.
Wresting back control of the Labour Party, can I take it from that if they had been successful in that aim, they would then have controlled the Labour Party?
Yes, sir. I took that to mean I think it was called the militant tendency, which is, I think the Socialist Party came out of that, had been a big part of the Labour Party, and there was still a lot of bitterness around when they'd been forced out. It was part of their history. Was talking about, obviously, getting revenge, for want of a better word, getting control back.
Why was the SDS interested in who controlled the Labour Party?
I don't know, sir. I just reported these things.
Could we take that document down now, please? From tab C276, could we have up next MPS 003644? This is a report which is undated. I'd like to draw your attention to the second paragraph of text. This is about Mr. Gilman. And if we zoom out there, and could we go to the comments, and in particular, that's it, thank you. What it says about Mr. Gilman in the comments. It's in particular that second paragraph under comment. It says, I think there's a typo, if Gilman got the opportunity, he would still resort to physical means when dealing with extreme right-wing activists. However, he would only do so if there were very little personal risk to himself, both physically and with regards to attention from the police. He remains very paranoid about his activities affecting his job and his relationship with his partner. Can you help us with whether that was just your judgment about Mr. Gilman, or whether it was informed by anything specific that Mr. Gilman said or did?
I think we would have spoken about this. This would have been as a result of a conversation, more than likely within the pub, where we were talking about matters like this. Reading through that, that's my belief.
Just to explore that a little bit further, did Mr. Gilman ever say to you that he wanted to attack anybody physically?
Yes.
Did he ever actually do so?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Did you ever hear of him doing so?
Yes, there was lots of talk, but I was not present in those sort of scenarios when that happened.
What talk was there?
Just about interrupting BNP leafleting teams, things like that, roughing them up as part of a team. That's the main story that comes to mind.
That's not quite the same as Mr. Gilman personally attacking anybody, is it?
Depends. I do apologise on your definition. If you're part of a group of people that approach and rough up a group of people who are just leafleting and things, that to me is a sort of personal attack. And I apologise if I've got that wrong.
Can you help us with what understanding you had of what Mr. Gilman had done personally in any such incident?
There was always this story about Slade Green, where he had been part of a group that had got hold of some BNP leafleters and had given them a bit of a slapping, I think was the term. Part of that was also that one of them had been thrown over a wooden fence, and it was highly hilarious.
By whom?
By the group. If that happened, sir, I was not there, but I can always remember that story because it also made me smile, the thought of what took place. But
can you assist us at this remove in time with the way in which Mr. Gilman was expressing himself to you in the pub about physical violence?
Not really, sir. I think that the first paragraph, that would have definitely been him explaining why he was moving away from certain aspects of the anti-fascist activity. That could have been to do with his work or with pressure from home and partners, but I don't know exactly. But that would certainly have been where it came about.
He wanted to confront the fascists, but without getting into trouble.
I would say he wanted to confront them, to disrupt them, to stop them obtaining a platform.
Could we take that down now, please, and have from C277 MPS 0036445? This again is about Mr. Gilman, and if we could have the text expanded, and the comment section especially. I'll let you read that.
So,
The suggestion here is he is also able to pass on information to Antifa when a more militant physical response is required. Gilman likes this responsibility as it still gives him a high standing amongst left-wing activists and boosts his already big ego. This paints a picture of Mr. Gilman receiving information from Searchlight about people from the far right and passing it on to Antifa for a physical response. Is that what's intended to be conveyed?
Yes. Again, as I say, I would not have written this, but whoever has, again, probably got this information from me. So, yes.
Did Mr. Gilman ever do that, to your knowledge?
No. I was aware that he would mention that he regularly met with Searchlight activists and that there were exchanges of information. Nothing further.
Information can be exchanged with Searchlight for the purposes of ensuring one could go and protest against the far right.
Absolutely.
That's very different from using the information for the purposes of attacking them, isn't it? To the best of your knowledge, was Mr. Gilman ever involved in passing information for the specific purpose of physically attacking somebody?
Are we talking Antifa or are we talking no platform or both?
Well, let's start with Antifa.
Not to my knowledge, no.
No platform?
Yes, because I know for a fact there would be phone calls about where to plot up, as we would say, on opposition groups. Whether attacks then took place, I don't know.
Well, again, is that for the was that passed for the purpose of attacking or for the purpose of confronting?
I struggle with the fine line, sir. Confrontation can develop into a fight quite quickly. It just depends on other circumstances. My whole reason for being deployed was to try and stop things like that happening. And so I did not see things like that. I don't know if that really answers it totally, Mr. Barr. But
Well, I understand the distinction you're making about your role, which is to prevent public disorder.
yeah,
But it's a very important distinction for Mr. Gilman about whether it's being said that he is passing information for the purposes of physically attacking somebody as opposed to confronting fascists in circumstances which might develop into trouble.
in my opinion, I would say yes, he was. However,
Yes, he was what?
he was passing information that could lead to opposition political groups being attacked.
Could lead to.
Absolutely, because you still need things to come together, don't you? However, I will also say that I never saw anything acted upon that he had passed across. I'm trying not to be vague, but it's a difficult one for me, I'm afraid.
Do you mean could, in the sense that if you go and confront the far right, they may well be violent towards you?
Totally, yeah, totally.
Could we take that down, please? Could we have up tab C289, MPS 0040376? This is another undated report. At the top, though, it refers to a young and increasingly prominent member of Antifa, was part of the team that recently assaulted two members of the National Front who were travelling from London Bridge to Waterloo for a National Front march.
Yes.
What do you know about that assault?
Just reading that bit, and I had a quick look after, this type of information would have come to me through, probably more than likely, in a pub or social environment. I would have heard this, I would have fed this in, and it would have been written up, because my understanding was they would then go away and obviously look for incidents like that that have been reported to police, because it might assist with the investigation.
Were you involved with the team that carried out the assault?
No, sir.
Did you hear on the ground anything about it?
No, sir. Other than what I reported there.
Are you able to help us with how serious it was?
I'm afraid not, no.
Are you able to help us with what is meant by the team?
Would you prefer to deal with any private matter before we move on to managerial knowledge? If there is anything you would like to say about private matters before we move on to that, or are you content to move?
I'm happy, sir.
You're content to move on to discussion with managers
Yes, sir.
in public?
More than happy if that assists.
Yes. Thank you.
You gave some evidence a moment ago to the effect you'd secured permission to tell your current partner who and what you really were.
Yes, sir.
Had they told you that you could do so, but only on condition that she told nobody else, or had they not imposed any conditions?
No, sir. There was no imposition of conditions. The managers that I spoke to were obviously concerned. However, I was coming to the end of my deployment, and they knew just quite how difficult a time I had created for myself and other things that had happened. I think, to be honest with you, they trusted what I said to them, that I felt there was a future here with this person, and they would have to go with it.
Did they express any concerns at all about operational security?
Absolutely, but I made it quite clear to them that I needed to do this for this person, because I did think that there was a chance for me to rebuild my life a little bit.
What concerns did they ventilate to you about operational security?
It would have been the usual, are you sure this could lead to, massive ramifications for both you and this person? As I say, I did say to them, I'm not going to tell her she cannot speak about this. It's not my decision to make for that person.
What was their reaction to that?
Well, they didn't really react. It was, well, okay. If you're going to go through with this, you're going to go through with it.
I've been using they, being very careful about anonymity. Which managers did you talk about your current partner to?
I'm just writing it down.
Write them down.
Yeah, is that
Very good,
okay?
yeah.
Just I found that easier.
The names you've written down are Detective Chief Inspector Flood,
Yes, sir.
separately, and later to HN 72, possibly also Sergeant, but not sure.
Yes, it was definitely the inspectors. My supervising sergeant at the time, it may well have come out after when we talked about it.
Was DCI Flood the first manager you told?
I believe so, yes, because the conversation, I think, with the other inspector took place in a public house. It was more informal. But with Mr. Flood, I think I was in his office.
With DCI Flood, what is your best recollection of when you told him?
Maybe around that period, sir. We definitely had a conversation.
Around what period?
In 2006, when I was coming towards the end, because it was around the period, I believe, where I was also being asked if I wanted to go and do the SO10 NUTAC course. I don't have exact recollection, sir, but it would have been around that period, I think.
We've been able to obtain a witness statement from DCI Flood. He expressly denies permitting you to tell your current partner your
Okay.
real identity.
Okay.
There would have been very strong operational security reasons
Totally.
for him to reject that request, wouldn't there?
Yes, sir, but I can only tell you what I did, and I went and spoke to my inspectors.
Did you actually speak to him about this?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever speak to DCI McKinney?
No, sir.
Or to McKinney, or
never-
after he'd been promoted, I think, to Superintendent McKinney?
He used to visit us occasionally, say hello, but I didn't engage with Mr. McKinney.
HN 72. You say that you communicated it to HN 72 at a later date.
Yes.
I'm not going to identify HN 72 by gender.
Okay.
Was this much later?
Cannot remember.
Was it whilst you were serving on the SDS or afterwards?
I think it would have been around the time that I was being withdrawn. I think I still was on the SDS on paper.
HN 72's evidence is that they met you and your partner in a pub perhaps around 2008. How much of that do you agree with?
I definitely know that my partner met the inspector we're talking about. I couldn't tell you the date, but there had been, I think, previous conversation, as I've said. But yes, I definitely know that.
Can I explore previous conversations? How strong is your recollection of a previous conversation about your new partner with HN 72?
We definitely spoke about it. More than that, as I say, I also spoke prior to that to the DCI, Mr. Flood.
Did you ask for any permissions of HN 72, or was that in the hands of DCI Flood?
I did not ask HN 72 for permission. In terms of Mr. Flood, we, as I say, had quite a long meeting about it.
What is your evidence of DCI Flood's reaction to your telling him you were in a sexual relationship with a member of the public?
I think he was concerned as to whether this was a political activist. Obviously, he was aware of my history.
When you say that, what do you mean?
Well, we talked about Donna McLean and Lindsay. I think he was relieved that there was not that side to it. More than that, I don't know. I can't speak for Mr. Flood.
How was he aware of what you describe as your history?
I think he would have been briefed by other supervisors.
You think or you know?
I think.
Did he say anything to you which revealed that he did actually know about your sexual relationships with Lindsay and Donna McLean?
Yes, because not in relation to this, but as I say, he had asked me to, not asked me, he'd offered me a course on the SO10 NUTAC course, and I had voiced what my issues were around that, i.e. I had had two intimate relationships. I also explained to him that I had a young family, that I had made a real mess of my life, and I was trying to pick it up, and I wasn't sure that it would be the correct role. He said to me that he was aware of all that, but that I was looking at it the wrong way because it was not a long-term deployment role.
What was HN72's reaction when they first found out that you were involved in a sexual relationship with a member of the public?
I think very similar. I don't think happy to start with, but I cannot remember for sure, sir. As I say, the first conversation I had was with the more senior officer.
No names at this stage.
No, sir.
Were any managers higher up in the chain of command aware of any of your sexual relationships undercover, to your knowledge?
I do not know, sir. That was as high as I got, so to speak.
Were, again, no names, were any other of your fellow UCOs, whether serving or former UCOs, aware of your relationship with your new partner?
I think I kept it private for quite a while, sir, so no.
When you say quite a while, at what stage did you open up?
Certainly it would not have been before at least 12 months or so that we were living together, as it were. I think they would have been aware that I was seeing somebody, but there was no social crossover or anything. So it was quite a while, so.
Did you declare your new partner to the vetting authorities?
Yes, I did.
When did you do that?
I left the Metropolitan Police quite soon after my deployment had finished. I had great difficulty settling back into the real world of policing. And so my vetting elapsed because I'd left, and I then stupidly I missed the work and the job, and I reapplied, went back in, and at that point the vetting officer came out to see us.
Were you fully open and frank with the vetting officer?
Yeah, I believe so.
Did you understand there to be any permission to be less than frank with a vetting officer?
No, absolutely not. Always frank and honest with vetting officers, but again, I don't fully understand where this is going.
Did you understand that it was always important to be very open and frank
absolutely,
with
sir,
vetting
yes.
officers.
Yes.
So would that be an appropriate time to break for lunch?
Certainly. Are you able to remember when, in 2006, you told DCI Flood about your relationship?
I think, sir, it would have been towards the end of that time, because, as I say, 2006 for me had been about running, what they used to term it, running down the operation. So it would have been, I think, the latter half, summertime onwards. I can't be more specific, sir, I'm sorry.
Thank you. We will resume at 2.
Thank you, sir.